Hail. Bullshit. Hail, people. I am back for another video. Today, I'm going to be talking about my top 8 final girls in slasher movies. The final girl is like the survivor of the movie. Um, there's so many good. That's like why I'm a slasher fan. There's so many really good ones out there. So, but I'm going to start off with my number 8. It is I can't think of her name right now because I haven't watched this movie in a few years, but Jessica Biel's character in Texas Chainsaw. She's actually really good. From what I remember, she was a good character. She played good at being scared, but she also was smart. You know, she wasn't just dumb, and that's to me why I like the kind of final girls I like. I'll admit the one I don't like is the girl from the first Friday 13th. Like she just happens to be the final girl. You know? So that's my number 8. Number 7 is Julie from I Know What You Did Last Summer. The movies may not be great. Like I think the first one's decent, but the second one has some issues. But I will say, Julie as a character works. You see the development, like in the first movie they run over this guy and she has to keep it secret, but she didn't even want to, you know. And then he throughout the movie, she has to try to survive. Her friends are dying, and you only see her in 2 movies, but she's a decent character. And Jennifer Love Hewitt was really good. And I like Jennifer Love Hewitt, so that's my number 7. Number 6, hold on, helicopter. All right, number 6 is Alice from Nightmare 3. She's from Nightmare 4 and 5. As much as I don't like those movies, and I'll admit I initially did not like the character, but she grew on me. Well, the more I watched the Nightmare franchise, she grew on me as a character. I'll admit, in the beginning of 4, she's just kind of there, but you see her get more confident, and then I think she's great in 5. She's one of the better things in 5, to be honest with you. Um, you see her grow throughout the 2 movies. She's not Nancy, but you know, I think she's an all right character, and I think she works as a protagonist. In a number 5 is I know a lot of people, and this is only going to be from strictly um um hmm, yeah, is her name's it just hit me, Chris Higgins from Part 3. no, no, she's only in 1 movie. I think she's a good character all around. Like you kind of see in the beginning, and Jason attacked her, and then you have to see her, go to the camp, and it takes her getting for it to happen. And I actually think the final battle's not terrible. The chase is decent. It ends at a farm. She outsmarts him and basically beats him, but then it still terrorizes her in the end, in her dream. So I think she's a decent character. She's not amazing, but she's decent. Now number 4 is another one from a Friday movie. Her name is Chris from Friday. part 2. She's played by Amy Steele. She is one of the. I think she's probably the best Friday the 13th final girl, in my opinion, of the movies. I think she's a good character. She's a smart final girl. The way she thinks of, I'm gonna, because I'm blonde, I can pack like his mom, And I think that scene is decent, Like I said, she's not like. It's a Friday the 13th movie, so the acting isn't amazing. But I think in general, she's a good final girl. I mean, even in, like I said, the chase is really good in the movie. Um, and she doesn't just scream the whole time, and she doesn't just happen to be the final girl. Um, and now we're in top 3. Um, Number 3 is going to be Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street 1 and 3. She's she is fucking awesome, I think. And what makes a lot of these final girls is they start off as just regular girls. Nancy was just a regular high school girl, had a boyfriend, um, that was, yeah, her parents were divorced, but, she was still a standard high school kid. And then her friend gets killed, and then slowly she starts having nightmares about Freddy. And then she has to, throughout the movie, realize, okay, I don't fear him. But you see her grow throughout the movie. You also see that she's smart with the Home Alone type. Granted, to be fair, Nightmares before Home Alone, but like the trap she sets in the house and stuff like that. So you see her have to and then in 3, she's a lot older, or not a lot older, but she's a little bit older. She's helped working at the I'm gonna say asylum. So it's similar, you know, um, for patients who have trouble sleeping. And throughout the film, you see her basically acknowledge Freddy's existence. And sadly, they killed her in the end of the movie. Even though I put her death in one of my favorite Freddy kills, I still think it was kind of a bad call to kill her in that movie. I think you could have honestly put her in 4. But I think in general, it was still a well executed death. She gets a send off. And she doesn't just die, she also makes Freddy stab himself with the claw before, her final act of heroism before she dies. Um, but yeah, she's a great character. The development in 2 movies. I wish she was in more. I'm not counting not Freddy's Dead, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which, yeah, Heather Langenkamp is in, but she's playing herself. She's not playing Nancy. So that's number 3. Number 2 is, of course, Laurie Strode. Laurie Strode is the original final girl, and I know people are going to give you, why is she not number 1? I'm going to explain that when I get to number 1. Laurie Strode, overall, Jamie Lee Curtis was the start. She was I think that's probably where the term final girl pretty much came from, was after her. And, you know, there's different iterations of her, and I'm only going to stick to the Jamie Lee Curtis version. I didn't mind the one in the remake, um, in the first one, but I'm only going to stick to the original Laurie. In the first movie, it is the same thing. She starts off as she's a shy high school girl, who has friends and has to babysit. She's not. She just gets thrust in this. Michael Myers breaks out and just has to go back to the town, and he wants to kill her. And she doesn't. And she throughout the film season, but she's not. She's worried initially, but then when Annie picks her up and then they get ready to babysit, she's not really thinking about it, and then slowly her friends are getting picked apart, and then you have probably one of the great final chases. Even though I kind of preferred the 1 and 2 a little bit, but the one in the first one's great. The music, the part where Laurie finds the bodies, and just all that, and then you know she has to fight him off. She stabs him a few times, so she at least fights back. And then Michael has her, and then the iconic Loomis shoots him 7 times out of the building, and then he disappears. Now we go into Halloween 2. She's comatose throughout the movie. I will admit, I love Halloween 2. if I like I said, I'm gonna say it right now when I get to the ranking. Halloween 1 and 2 to me are equal. It's just I will admit the Lori being comatose kind of for most of the movie was a little bit like you do see her have like the thing with the one dude played by Lance Guest. But other than that, you don't. She does the dreams where she realizes she's Michael's sister. And I'll admit that part was as much as I fucking hate this film. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 did that reveal a little better, but I still Halloween 2 is still a great film. And then the chase was really fucking good. And then what made it work too, Lori was injured. She was injured in the chase, so her foot was like pretty much I don't think it was broken, but it was injured, so she couldn't. And then she shoots Michael in the eyes, and then it blows up, and then we don't see her till H2O, which, as much as I don't like that movie, I think her development in that is decent. She's like an alcoholic. She has fears of Michael coming back, but and then she has to basically face her fears, and that's what we get that cool ending. But then she we're not even going to talk about really what happens with her in Resurrection. That's the only part of the movie I don't like. Her death was not executed well in that movie. It's just very quick. But and then she comes back, of course, in 2018, which I'll admit that's probably my favorite version of her. I really like. I think Jamie Lee Curtis brought it. She did a good job playing crazy, but knowing the truth at the same time. You know, so I think it works. It's a great. She's a great character, but this is why I don't think she's number one. My number one is Sidney Prescott from Scream, and it's not just because I got into Scream first. No, even though I got into Scream first, objectively, are better movies. But the character of Sid has had development in 4 movies, whereas like I was even talking about with Laurie, she was in 1 and 2, then she wasn't in 4 through 6. Then she comes back in H2O. We're not counting Resurrection because she was only in it for like 15 minutes in that. And then you had the remake version of her, and then she came back in 2018. Sydney has had 4 movies where we watched her grow. She starts off as a high school girl, like just a normal high school girl, as a boyfriend. Yeah, she has the trauma of her mom's death. She still thinks about it clearly, and you just see that. And then the killings happen, and the killer's terrorizing her, and she's a smart character, and then she rises to the occasion and kills the killers in the end. And then in Scream 2, like that's the other thing. When we see her evolve in these movies, she still makes mistakes. She's not like, oh, because I experienced it before. I'm instant. No, there are moments like even in the second film, she's when she first gets the call, you could tell like, oh shit, this is happening again. And then you have that part of the second movie where she has trouble trusting Derek, because it's like, and it makes sense though, and I get it. Her ex boyfriend Billy was the killer the last time, so it's. And then in the third film, she's like a hermit, and then she's forced out of hiding, and then we don't get a lot of her in the third film, and that's because in real life, Nev Campbell was filming like a bunch of other movies at the time, so they didn't have her much on the set. But for what we got of her, she was good in the whole reveal of her brother, which I'll admit I'm mixed on. I liked it more when I first started watching Scream, but when I first watched Scream 3, the more I watched it, I still think like they should have did this like in the second movie instead of the first, but instead of the third one, they should have did it in the second. But I was okay with it. And then in the fourth movie, she's writing a book now because she's like, okay, I've survived. I'm a survivor. And then you see her have to like, she once again, it's happening again. And then the reveal, it's her, her niece, which I'll admit when I get to the Scream franchise review, I'm gonna go in on this. I the more I think about Emily Roberts did not do that great. I think if it was a different actress who played that part, it would have been better. But I think Sydney herself, she was great in all the films. You see her grow throughout the films, where that's why to me she's the best, my favorite final girl, because I think the development of that character is what makes it great. Whereas in with Laurie, yes, Laurie was the first, and I will agree. If there was no Laurie Strode, there'd probably be no Sidney Prescott. But I'm sorry, in terms of just straight up development, Laurie, I think Sydney is a better character. Laurie was in and out of the franchise. But in general, all these characters are great. There's a lot more final girls out there. So that's why it bothers me. I'll just throw this quick point in the end here. When you have these SJW types who fucking go on about, like, there's not women and we hate women in movies, when, and it's like, it's such bullshit, because I wouldn't be a fan of horror if that was the case. All these women, female characters I named are great. You just gotta write them that way, you know. But yeah, that's my list, and my next video will probably be on Monday. It will be reviewing it technically is a Christmas movie, but it's a Christmas horror movie, but horror to me in general is October, so I don't care. I'm gonna be reviewing Silent Night, Deadly Night, the original one from 1984. That'll be my next video, and then probably after that, I'll probably start either the franchise reviews or like the rankings. But other than that, I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.